For the following exercise, evaluate the function f at the values f of -2, f of -1, etc. All right. So really what they're asking us to do, all right, is they want us to find this value when x is either -2 or x is equal to -1 or 0 or 1 or 2. All right. That's the whole idea behind the question. So we have a series, 3 steps that we can follow here. All right. And it's fairly straightforward. So let's take a look at the first one, f of -2. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down the equation again. Why? Because I'm OCD. So now what we need to do is, instead of writing down f of x, I need to now plug in the indicated value of f of x. So this is f of -2. That's what we're trying to find. Okay, so now instead of f of x, I'm going to plug in f of -2. Now basically what I did was I substituted x for -2. So if I do that on the left-hand side, guess what I got to do on the right-hand side? I got to do the same thing, right? So wherever now x is on the right-hand side, substitute in -2. That's step number 2 down here now. And then after you do that, step number 3 says to just simplify, all right? So this is now, and by the way, there's nothing to simplify here. Think of this as a single variable, like a y, or an a, or a b, or a c, or whatever your favorite letter is. So now when we simplify on the right-hand side, -3 times -2 is now a +6. So this shall reduce down to 14. Okay, well, not reduce down, but it's additive, so it reduces up, which doesn't make sense because you can't reduce up. Anyway, so next one, okay, rewrite it. So f of x is equal to 8 minus 3x. So the new indicated f of x value is f of -1. So plug that on in. So basically anywhere there's an x, we're going to plug in -1. So now on the right-hand side, plug in -1 for your x. And then simplify. Okay. So this is now 8 plus 3, right? Because -3 times -1 is a +3. And then f of -1 will simply be the addition of those two, which is now 11. Okay, great. Let's do one more. I mean, there's 3 more to do, but we might be able to detect a pattern, okay? And if you're detecting the other pattern, then I keep writing this out. Why? Just because I'm very particular. So f of x now, we're going to plug in our new indicated f of x value, which is f of 0. So that becomes a 0 in there. Anywhere there's an x now on the right-hand side, we are now going to plug in 0 for it. So obviously this cancels and we're left with just 8. Might we be able to detect a pattern now? Well, we went from 14 to 11 to 8. Each time I kept subtracting by 3, right? I kept subtracting by 3. Why? Because each time, if you look at the original function value, each time I change x by 1 unit, right, or I make x larger by 1 unit, okay, I am subtracting then 3 from it, right? So that's basically what's happening, okay? So now what we can do is we can simply now plug in, or we can recognize the pattern, right? I went from -2 to -1, 0, 1, and 2. The only reason why I can extrapolate here is because the x values are changing by a specific amount. It's always changing by a value of 1. So therefore I know number 4, and you can do the workout, right? But number 4 here is going to be f of 1 should be 5. All right, and then for number 5, f of 2 should be 2. And that's all. All right, those would be all your answers. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope this helped. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.